Good morning, afternoon, or evening, everyone. My name is Jeremy Walsh, and I'm the Director of Support, Training, and Documentation for BNI Connect. I'd like to welcome everybody to the webinar today. Today's webinar is part 3 of a 5-part series that we put on specifically for new members or people that are logging into BNI Connect for the very first time. We go through about a half hour each session, and give you a tour of all the different parts of the system. So far this week, on Monday, we talked about how to fill out your profile, basically the first steps in getting connected with BNI Connect. Yesterday, we talked about the online slips, so how to pass all your referrals and one-to-ones and thank you for closed business. Do all of that activity online through BNI Connect and some of the benefits for doing so. Today, we're going to go into the social media side of BNI Connect. BNI Connect is not only the kind of QuickBooks for BNI worldwide, but it's also a private LinkedIn, so to speak, for other BNI members around the world, and it's exclusive just to BNI members. So I'm going to show you how that works today, how to find people in the global directory, how to connect with them and make them part of your permanent connections. Also how to give testimonials and how to get involved in the discussion groups in BNI Connect. So tomorrow, we're going to dive a little bit deeper into the system. We're going to talk about some of the tools and reports that are available in BNI Connect. And finally, on Friday, we're going to talk about visitors and how BNI Connect can help you with the visitor process. So before we get started with today's content, a couple of quick housekeeping things. This is a live webinar, so please do ask me questions as we're going through the material. If you're wondering about anything or stumped or not sure how something works, just ask. The only silly question is the unasked question. I'll be happy to answer those questions in line, or if it's somewhat unrelated to what we're talking about, I will make plenty of time available for that at the end of today's session. We are scheduled for about 30 minutes worth of content. I try to keep these short and sweet and try to end the content portion on time by the bottom of the hour. Make sure that anybody that does need to get out to their next appointment or to a client or answer the phone or return some emails, you'll have time to do so. Now that said, if you can hang out and you would like to ask questions, I am always happy to stay on these calls until every single question has been answered. So feel free to fire the questions away as soon as we get towards the end. We are also recording this session, so you'll be able to review it later. If you have to back out early, or if you'd like to share this with other people in your chapter, you'll be able to do so. We do record them and keep them on both the support site, which you can access by clicking that question mark in the upper right-hand corner, or you can also go directly to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/BNI Connect Global. So all one word, BNI Connect Global, out there on YouTube. All right, so let's get started. Today's session, as I said, is really connecting with other members, or kind of the social media aspects of BNI Connect. BNI Connect is a huge system, and it really is a global network. You have access to the profiles of over 190,000 members that are in BNI worldwide. And as BNI continues to grow year after year after year, that network gets even larger. Now, why does that make a difference? Couple of things. As part of the larger network, you're always looking to fill the gaps of people that might not be in your chapter. So that's one reason. So, or to complement the skills of the person that is in your chapter. For example, I have a web designer in my chapter. However, she does a very specific type of websites, more like WordPress sites and things like that. There are plenty of other types of web designers out there, and there's like database driven or shopping carts or selling stuff online. When I need a client has needs that are beyond the needs of the person in my chapter, I'll look to other people in my area that I might be able to refer that person to, a web designer in another chapter. The same is true for people that are in other areas. Now, let me tell you a quick story. This job is wonderful. I love answering questions about BNI Connect, and I do get to go to some pretty interesting places to go and teach people about BNI Connect. I've been to Malaysia and Hong Kong, and just last year I was also in the Netherlands. I was in Amsterdam, and I wanted to go see a chapter there. So I went to a meeting, and if you don't speak Dutch, It is nothing like English. I mean, you can barely even, recognize a couple of words, but one of the cool things about going to chapters and visiting chapters in other countries, even if they speak a different language, is that you know what's going on in the meeting because we're all following the same agenda. Every single one of these 7,000 chapters around the world that meet on a weekly basis have open networking, then they go into their presentations, then they go into a 10-minute presentation, then they pass referrals and testimonials and everything. So we're all following the same system. And when you go and see a chapter in another language, you can see just how excited people are to get a referral and pass business to one another. You can see that they're having a membership committee meeting after the meeting. This structure is universal to all BNI members around the world. So what that does is it helps to build the credibility of BNI and BNI members, which means that I would rather turn to a BNI member in some other chapter somewhere around the world before I would turn to just randomly Googling somebody or Angie's List or Craigslist or any of these other places where I might be able to find someone's services. The most important thing to do, though, is to remember that as people are searching for your services, make sure that your profile is filled out. Now, I went over this on Monday. For those of you that weren't here on Monday, very quick, 1-minute overview of filling out your profile. Make sure that you click on Update Profile, My BNI page, and go through these tabs. It is very important to make sure that your profile is filled out because if people are looking for your services, they find your profile and you don't have it filled out or you're not sharing your phone number or something like that, it ends up being the equivalent of taking out a billboard on the highway and leaving it blank. While we're in the profile, though, the one thing that you definitely want to keep an eye on is this keywords section. And this is very important because most of the time when people are searching to connect with you or to look for your services, they are looking for something that you do, but they don't necessarily know your name. So when BNI Connect does a search, keep in mind that it's a database search. It's not, we don't have the budget or the algorithms that Google has. So when people are doing searches, it's going to be more of a one-to-one match on things that are in your profile. For example, if you happen to be a bookkeeper and they do a search, I'm looking for a bookkeeper, and they, in your classification, it has, industry accounting, and the classification is bookkeeping. But if they do a search for bookkeeper, it's not going to find you. So you want to make sure that you have bookkeeper in your keywords. That way it'll find you for both. Same thing with anything else that you might do within your business that you want to be found for. It's also really helpful for locations. So if there's certain cities or towns or counties or states that you'd like to be found in, you may want to supplement those in the keywords as well. If you make any changes, be sure you hit the update button in order to make them active. Now, going back to the home screen, again, if you want some more details on that, check out the recording from Monday's webinar. I go into much more detail about the profile. Now, the networking components, these are going to be found on the My Network link here. So we have My Business. This is all the stats and the slips and everything. Right below that is My Network. And this is kind of all the social media stuff here in BNI Connect. We have the Connections interface. The Connections is really, it's your personal BNI address book. Now, we already have access to everybody's profile through the directory, which I'm going to show you in a minute. This is more, you've met somebody in BNI, you want to keep their contact information handy. This is your personal BNI address book, is the Connections. There's the groups. The groups are the discussion groups. These are people having conversations all around the world with other BNI members. A couple of things that make these groups really unique is that, A, it is only active BNI people that are part of these discussions. You have to be a member of BNI in order to have access to BNI Connect, so we don't have a bunch of random people in on these discussions. But also they are maintained as active discussions. If there is a discussion that goes dormant for more than 90 days, we pleasantly prompt people to continue the discussion, and if they choose not to, then we do close that group down. So all 500 or so groups that are in there right now are active, at least within the last 90 days. The documents here on the right-hand side, that is your regional document library. So if your executive director, your regional team has documents that they'd like to share, they could be things like visitor sign-in sheets or the vice president control letters, or anything that might be pertinent from a regional level. That's where they would share it. Keep in mind that's different for everybody because it is controlled by your area. We can leave testimonials for people, and people can leave testimonials for you. Great credibility builder to have somebody write a testimonial, and it will display on your BNI directory profile. The events, these are all the training events, networking events that are available in your area. You can click through on those to find out more about them and register for them. And finally, there is an internal messaging system here in BNI Connect where you can send messages back and forth with the other people that you're connected to. So how do we go ahead and find and connect with people in BNI Connect? There's a couple of different ways you can do it. Here on the My Network page here, you can click on Add under Connections. If you're in the Connections interface, there's an Add button there as well, which I'll get back to in a minute. Or from any screen in BNI Connect, up here in the upper right-hand corner, there is a little magnifying glass. If you click that magnifying glass, this will bring us to the BNI Global Directory. This is essentially the search of the entire active database. So anybody that happens to be a member in BNI, you should be able to find them by doing a search here. Easiest way to always do that, you search by somebody's name. So if you don't mind, let's see, we have Mark Owen on the webinar with us today. Mark, I'm going to do a search for you. So if I do a search for Mark Owen, let's see what we come back with. We come back with some exact matches here. I'm not sure which chapter you happen to be in. My guess is that you're in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, though, given that you're on a call. It's about 8 o'clock at night in the UK. And here you are. So I think this is you, Mark, in the Elite chapter. He says, yes, he's in Elite in Florida. So Mark, this is, everybody, meet Mark. This is Mark Owen. We can see that he's in Fort Lauderdale, the Broward County region, and he is in the Elite chapter where he is a member. He's in the IT business. We have links to his profile. We can go out, we can check out his website. Mark, you're not sharing your contact information right now, so I couldn't necessarily call you until we're connected and you share that with me. But there are definitely some credibility building things here. I can also go through the rest of Mark's profile. I can check out his gains information and his tops profile. I can see who else he's connected to and what chapter and what places they're a part of. I can check out any testimonials that people have given him, his photo library, if he's participating in any groups, and his training history. If I'd like to connect with Mark, I can, once I'm on his profile here, I can click on Add Mark to My Connections. This will allow me to send a custom message. Thanks for being on the webinar today and for being a good sport. This will send Mark a message saying that Jeremy would like to connect with him. So if anybody else would like to be connected to an IT person in Florida, give Mark a search and give him a call. All right, now I can also close this and go back to my original search terms. Keep in mind there is also a little plus sign here that you can choose to send somebody a connection request. The reason I usually click on the person's name, though, is I do want to go out and check their profile. And it also opens in a new window, which allows me to come back to this search. Now, keep in mind, you don't have to just search by somebody's name. There's other ways you can search. You can search by keywords or locations. Let's say that I'm looking for a plumber in Boston. I can look for a plumber in Boston, and hopefully it'll return some results here for plumbers in Boston. And here we go. Looks like we have about a dozen plumbers here in Boston. And if I was looking for a plumber, I could go through and I could click on any of their names. And if they have their profile filled out, if they're sharing their information, then I would be able to give them a call. All right. Other interesting things, you can search by email address as well. And if you're having a hard time, especially if somebody has a very common name, like you notice with Mark Owen, it brought back a lot of exact matches because Mark and Owen could be both the first name and the last name. There could also be locations that have the word Mark in it. So there is an advanced search as well up here in the upper right-hand corner. So you can make sure that things are being searched the right way. For example, if I search for Mark again using Mark and Owen in the first name and last name, it should only be the two Mark Owens that show up, or the three Mark Owens that show up here for exact matches. You could also choose from the drop-down list of industries and countries if you just want to search for people in certain countries. But again, this is not limited just to the United States. You should be able to search for anybody anywhere around the world. For example, I could do a search for massage therapist in Hong Kong. And this would return the massage therapist in Hong Kong. This is a great way to also be able to help other people within your contact sphere that don't live near you. So your grandmother in Atlanta, or your cousin that's in Florida, or your uncle that happens to be in Michigan. Great to be able to refer BNI members from around the world. Now, once you start connecting with people, once you start sending connection requests, connections are an opt-in, so people do have to approve the connection requests. Now, we do that through the connections interface. If I go back home on my network page, what I'd want to do here is go and click on Manage in the connections. I could also, from anywhere else in the system, go to Network, Connections. And this would also take me to the connections interface. Now, the connections interface is, as I said, it's really your personal BNI address book. It wasn't designed to add all 190,000 members into it, just the people that you have a deeper relationship with. In here, there will be the abbreviated version of their profile, so you could click on somebody's name. For example, Alana here. Alana's a director consultant in the Central Valley region. And here's Alana's basically contact card. And here on Alana's contact card, I have her information, but I can also do a couple of other things. I could send her a message. I could send her an internal message here in BNI Connect. I could ask her for a testimonial. I could give her a testimonial. I can go and view her complete profile, or I can remove her from my connections. One thing to keep in mind is that you're not alone. You will be automatically connected to all of the people in your chapter. So those are managed by BNI Connect. So as new members join your chapter, you will be automatically connected with them. And as people leave your chapter, you'll be automatically disconnected from them. So on the people from your chapter, one thing that you won't see is to delete them from your connections. Now, down on the left-hand side, as I mentioned before, you do have to accept your connection requests. So that is done through the received requests. If I click on received requests, these are people that have recently sent me connection requests. And what I can do is if I just want to go ahead and accept them, I can do that, or ignore or reject them. I could also, if I'm not sure if they said something or sent a message along, or I deleted the notification, I can always click on Read Message. And this would allow me to read their message. Thanks for your help. I'd like to add you. And at this point, I can choose to accept it, ignore it, or reject it if I'd like to. All right, and it will bring me back to the other page. You can also click on somebody's profile picture or their name here, and that will take you out to their profile. So if you're not sure who the person was, you can go and read up more about them. Now, if you have a bunch of connection requests, you can also click on Select All and choose Connect to Selected, and that will connect you to all of them at once. So be sure you go in and remember to accept your connections of the people that have been sending requests to you. Now we talk about testimonials as well. Testimonials are done through your connections. So if you want to give somebody a testimonial, as I mentioned before, one of your options when you're looking at one of your connections, see Barty Bryant here. The way to give a testimonial is to click on Give Barty a Testimonial through their Connections tab. Now once you start giving testimonials, you can go in and manage those testimonials through the Testimonials interface. While I'm in my connections, I can click on Testimonials. I could also go back to the home screen and click on Manage under Testimonials. Or from the network drop-down, I can go to Testimonials. There's always a couple of different ways to get there. All right, so once we get into the testimonials portion here, we can look at all the testimonials that we have received. We can read those testimonials. We can also, if we choose to, we can choose to hide or show this testimonial on our profile, or we can choose to delete this testimonial. Another thing to know is that the testimonials, you can only leave or receive one testimonial per person. So for example, Manuela here, I could only receive this one testimonial from her. If she wanted to give me an updated testimonial or replace something, or maybe she just made a spelling error or something like that, I would have to delete my testimonial first, and then she could send me another one. You can also review the testimonials that you have given. And if anybody has requested a testimonial of you, you can respond to it through this interface as well. All right, so we've talked about testimonials, we've talked about connections, we talked about how to find people. Once you start connecting with people and you start to tap into this larger network that is BNI Global, the next thing you want to do is to really start building some credibility and building relationships worldwide. And you can do that, of course, by keeping in touch with people that you're connected to. But there's another way to do that, and also to find new connections, and that's through the discussion groups. So going back to the My Network tab, under the groups here, you can click on Manage, and that will take you into the groups interface. We could, of course, also go to Network Groups. Now, once we're in the groups interface, we can start looking at all of the groups that are there. Now, as I mentioned before, there's 507 active groups in BNI Connect. So I could go through, I think there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 per page. So I could click through all 101 or 102 pages, one by one by one, and see if there's any that I like. And by the way, there are groups on everything. There's groups for, as we see here, California Realtor Partners. There's Health and Wellness, Mortgage Originators. Here's a group that happens to be in, looks like it's in Japanese if I'm not mistaken, and that one is the Global Business Forum. Technology Consultants, there's a couple from Dr. Meisner specifically. So if you're looking to have a conversation with people from around the world, there's probably a place that you can do that. However, as I mentioned, going through page by page by page is going to be a little bit painful. So you can search using the magnifying glass and go and find a group that you might be interested in. I know that there happens to be a group out there for growth coordinators. So if I'm looking to grow my chapter, let me look for a keyword of growth. And here we go. We have a number of different things that showed up with keywords of growth. We have business opportunities, from the founder, chapter growth coordinators. So any of these that you'd like to then become a part of, if you're not already a member of the group, you can click on Join Group. That will allow you to start participating in the discussion. Once you've joined the group, for example, chapter growth coordinators, I can click into it and I can see all of the discussions. So I can see here that it looks like there's about 26 different discussions. Some of them have only a couple of messages in them. Some of them have 59, 60, 55, 17. So these are all different conversation threads that are going on. You can, once you're a part of it, you can jump in. Let's see, a fountain flowing deep and wide. I can jump into this most recent topic of conversation. I can read it. I can also post a message or a reply to that as well. Now, going back to the group's home screen, I do highly recommend that you join the From the Founder group. If you do a search for groups by Dr. Meisner, just do a search for groups with a creator of Meisner, M-I-S-N-E-R. This is your opportunity, along with 3,341 other people, to discuss topics directly with Dr. Meisner, the founder of BNI. Highly recommend that you join that group. But if you really can't find any groups at all that you would like to join, you can start your own group. As a matter of fact, you can start up to 7 of your own groups. All you need to do is click on Add Group here at the top. Once you click on Add Group, give the group a name, give it a description, give it some keywords. You can choose whether it's going to be an open group or whether it's going to be a private group, meaning only you can invite people to the group. And then you'll have the opportunity to invite some of your connections as well. Just remember, we do maintain at least activity every 90 days. If you are going to start a group, I really recommend that you start slowly with just one group at a time, because it does take a little bit of effort to make sure that you're participating in those group discussions. All right, and that, my friends, is really the social media side of BNI Connect. It's the connections, it's the groups, it's the testimonials. We have all these other wonderful things too, the internal messaging system, events, documents. What I'd like to do now is to open this up to any questions. We are just about at the bottom of the hour, so I do realize that some people may need to leave right away. For those people that do need to leave right away, thank you guys so much for being here and hanging out with me for a half hour and learning more about BNI Connect. I hope there's some things that you heard today that you can take back to your chapters. While you're thinking of your questions, just a couple of reminders. The first of which is this webinar is being recorded. I'll have this transcribed into a YouTube ready format and uploaded as quickly as I can, usually within 24 to 48 hours or so. You'll be able to find it in a couple of different places. If you click on this question mark here in the upper right hand corner, big question mark, upper right hand corner, that will take you to the support site. And on the support site, the first thing you'll see is our list of upcoming webinars. A good referral for me is to please let your other chapter members know about these webinars. Spread the word. If you found this format useful or if you found out something new today, please invite your other fellow members to attend. Our next webinar is tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel. We'll be talking about the member tools and reports. We're going to take a deep dive into the system and look at things beyond the home screen and beyond the networking, about some of the statistics and other things that you can get out of BNI Connect. And we're going to do that at 3 o'clock Eastern time tomorrow. And then Friday, we will talk about visitors. We have a couple of leadership team webinars next week, and then we do the whole series again in March. So if you missed any of them and you would like to be there for a live one, please do join us in March. As I mentioned, you can also find these on YouTube, youtube.com/BNI Connect Global. youtube.com/BNI Connect Global. We have our entire library up here, so feel free to tap into that resource. Let's see, Bonita says, how do you get notified if someone wants to edit the testimonial if they need to fix something or add something? So the only way is that they need to send you a note of some sort. So they could send you an internal BNI Connect message. They could send you an email. Of course, they could send a carrier pigeon or smoke signals if they'd like to, but they need to get in touch with you to ask you to please delete the testimonial so that they could add another one. In some very extreme cases where maybe it was a negative testimonial or something like that, we can always step in from support and offer a hand. But usually that's an extreme case. Does that answer your question, Bonita? Excellent. Let's see. John says the pictures on your profile. How do you upload pictures to your profile? Excellent question. Thank you so much, John. On your profile, just to show everybody what we mean, on your profile, which you can get to by clicking on profile at the bottom, this is how other people see you. There is a tab here for photos, and these photos can be anything. They could be, like in my case here, I have a gratuitous photo of my son, or pictures of your business, or you in a business suit, or whatever else you'd like to do. Another good use for this that I've seen is for, because this is a members-only portal, your clients can't really put testimonials up. However, if they've written you a testimonial, as long as you can save it as a picture file, meaning a JPEG or a PNG, scan it to your computer, you can upload that to your profile. Now you upload them. I know it seems like a really weird place to do it, but you get there by going to Network, Picture Gallery. And this is your private picture gallery. You can upload up to 20 images. So if you have 20, you will need to delete one first. Otherwise, you can click the upload button. And really all you need to do is click on this magnifying glass and go find let's say a picture. You can then crop this or give it a title and a description. Click submit. And this will now be part of your library of pictures. You can delete it, you can move them around, whatever you'd like to do to keep those fresh. So hopefully that answers your question, John. Excellent, excellent, thank you. All right, what other questions? So Clifford says, what size do the pictures need to be cropped to? Those pictures can be any size. There's really no specific size because there's no border on them. It's more of a, what would you call it, a slideshow, I guess, going through those pictures. The picture does need to be less than 5 megabytes, though. It won't let you upload it if it's bigger than 5 megabytes. That's really the only limitation on those particular pictures. So, good question, Clifford. All right, let's see. Nancy says, thank you. Great job, as usual, presenting more insight into BNI Connect. Nancy is a longtime member. Thank you guys. Thank you so much for being here. I'm glad that you learned something new today. Excellent. Let's see. Georgia says, yep, and I've been a member since 2008. Great information. I can't wait to share it with my chapter. Thank you so much, Georgia. Awesome. Do we have any other questions, comments, concerns, compliments? I always love hearing compliments. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to say thank you guys so much for being here. Again, reminder, tomorrow we're going to talk about tools and reports, and then Friday we're going to talk about visitors. So thank you again for being here, and I look forward to seeing you on a future webinar. Happy connecting, everyone.